So, Capricorn, your September 2025 forecast is going to see some very powerful discussions and thinking. It may see you grappling with a contractual matter. It could even see you traveling. It may be an opportunity for you to promote ideas, philosophies, or a business idea you've got with a lot of passion and conviction. But it begins with your ruler Saturn inversing back into the part of your chart that's very much to do with your everyday world, the third house. Now, in terms of our immediate environment, that can be neighbours, siblings, our community, and it can also be, these days anyway, very much to do with technology. Now, through to the middle of February, it's coming to the end of an entire cycle. Saturn takes 29 and a half years to go through the sky, and when it returns to Aries in the middle of February, that's part two of its new push through the entire zodiac. So, what has Saturn meant for you in the 2.25 years it was in Pisces through to the 25th of May? Because if you look back through those 2.25 years, you will get some clues about what may be coming. It's possible that there have been some tensions with people immediately around you. Some relationships may have got cooler. You may have learnt some new skills, gone on a course, perhaps retrained in or reskilled in some ways, or perhaps you've pushed forwards with vigour about something you feel very strongly about and have worked with your natural endeavour and discipline in a very, very hard way. And there's an opportunity to do that in these months ahead. But Mercury, the planet of communication, but also of precision, moves into a part of your horoscope that's very much to do with life's big picture, the ninth house on the 2nd. Now, Mercury here does love to travel, but it can also push us around higher education. Maybe even about wanting to relocate for some people or starting a business online. The ninth house can be about publishing, just so you know, but we do have right at the start of this month Venus, the planet of relating, but also of money, in a very deep and passionate part of your scope, and Mars, the planet of assertion, in the most authoritative part of your chart through to the 22nd. So whatever you decide to discuss, whoever you interact with this month, there could be some financial dynamics involved with Venus initially in the sign of Leo, but I feel that Mars just gives you that little bit of extra self-belief to whatever it is that you have to say or whatever it is that you want to share is something that other people should be responding to. So a little bit of extra gravitas, why not? But Venus forges a beautiful link with the Sun through the first 3 weeks of this month. If you are thinking about changing your approach to your resources, perhaps in terms of investments, it's possible that those that are to do with fast-moving emerging technologies or overseas interests could interest you. But you could also, with Venus in the 8th house, which can be very hot and sensual, particularly as Venus comes into a brilliant alliance with Mars on the 16th, you could encounter someone through your work or worldly role, and it may be a much more intimate draw. And also because of the more rebellious energy we can get with the ninth house, perhaps you're going to want to push free and break away in some ways, even if it's for a day or two, from some of those constraints that you're normally so disciplined around. But also through the first 2 weeks broadly of this month, Jupiter, the planet of optimism, growth and good fortune, forges a lovely link with the Sun. So if you are looking at things in a fresh way, talking about situations, being open and just digesting that information in a very exacting way with Saturn in your 3rd house. So whatever's being discussed, you think about it and analyse it carefully. You can still make the most of the juggle that's going to go on between the 2 eclipses this month. But also, of course, we do have Uranus. Uranus is the disruptor, and he's going into a retrograde on the 6th, but he still continues to forge a very strong link with Pluto in your 2nd house of everyday finances. Uranus in your sixth house suggests that something could change about your everyday life structures. It could be around your job as well. So I feel for some Capricorns, if things have become a little bit too workaday, you may be in the mood to do something more enterprising, more free-spirited, something that enables you to have a bit more freedom, brings more excitement and spontaneity into your life, or you would say, on the face of it, non-Capricorn energies, but actually that's just the archetype of Capricorn based on Saturn, that you're very hardworking, very adhered to the process, painstaking, all great qualities. But this month gives you a chance, but it also potentially gives you some choices. Now on the 7th we have a lunar eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse which aligns with the North Node, also in Pisces like Saturn. So what you're thinking and what you're expressing are going to be very, very important, because the moon in Pisces can be very, very sensitive. And one of the things you don't want to do, in a way, is use the detachment of Mercury in Virgo along with the Sun, particularly as they align in an exact conjunction on the 13th, to be a bit too detached. So stay in touch with how you feel. That's the lesson of the North Node. But they both the Sun, the Node and the Moon, link back brilliantly to Jupiter in your opposite sign. So I feel that there could be a developing relationship this month, certainly primed by that lunar eclipse, but it may require you to flex a little bit. You may have to step outside your comfort zone, and it may mean engaging with people who see things slightly differently from you and perhaps set conditions on how you can work. But that lunar eclipse provides a backdrop for the next 6 months. So just be aware there can be some fluidity around your immediate environment, perhaps even in terms of where you're living. But there can be things to gain by shaking things up a little bit and just being a bit more flexing in your approach. Now Mercury, as I mentioned, comes into an exact conjunction with the Sun on the 13th, the 4th of the year, a superior conjunction. It's a cazimi, and your ability to read or analyse things, but in a very enlightened way, is really going to be glowing. So if you are someone who's more entrepreneurial, or you want to do something daring around a travel plan, that's a great opportunity for you. But despite that, there could be an important discussion later in the second week of this month, where somebody starts to perhaps ask some searching questions. And as Libra sees Mercury on the 18th, that could become quite tense. Try to take this in your stride. It could be that you just need to understand where each of you are coming from. Now on the 19th, Venus replaces Mercury in the sign of Virgo, and for you, Venus in the 9th house is very much a truth seeker, but it's also wonderful if you want to go somewhere different, immerse yourself in different culture, architecture, history, local customs, food. It really could lift your senses. If you are holidaying and you're not involved with someone, you could encounter someone rather exciting and perhaps also rather exotic. What's not to like? But the 21st sees the solar eclipse, the first and only one in this particular series between the signs of Pisces and Virgo. And it is in a direct and harsh opposition with your ruler. And this could be a crunch point. Now the crunch may come as early as the 3rd week of this month. It could show itself right through to February. There may be an important conversation you need to have. It may, as I mentioned before, be about a contract. It could be about something you feel very strongly about in terms of a point of principle. But an opportunity could be there. It's just whether it feels right or not. The lunar eclipse energy, but the solar eclipse energy suggests there is something to be gained, but it may come with certain strings. Just be conscious of that. But Mars, as I say, gives you great authority this month, but then moves into your sector of friendship on the 22nd, but links in a square with Pluto in your second house. You may find yourself, if there is someone around your social situation that you feel is a bit, a bit needy, perhaps a bit controlling, perhaps wants to have things on their terms a little bit, that could be something that sticks in your craw. But the 22nd also sees the autumnal equinox, ushers in cardinal quadrant 3, providing a backdrop energy for the next 13 weeks, and your natural authority and ambition are given an opportunity to really achieve a golden prize. But I feel that the dialogue that's going to go on this month, the give and get between the two polarities of Virgo energy, which is where we want things to be just so, and Pisces energy, where it needs to feel right, but can be more instinctive. If we're too caught up in the facts, we may crush an opportunity. If we're not listening to our senses, we may go for something that's not right for us. So it's important to try to align those two contrasting energies. But at the end of the month, with the sun climbing high in the sky, joining up with Mercury, if you are someone who wants to take the mantle, elevate your role, seize more recognition, push yourself forwards in a way which sometimes Capricorn people can be a little reluctant to do. Steady Eddie is your approach, working very diligently towards any kind of target, but there is a chance for you to be much more go-getting this month, but it will require you to push outside your comfort zone, particularly around communication. But if you can engage with it, there is truly a wonderful door of celestial opportunity that you can spring open. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please check out my testimonials below. Please also check out my new website at patrickarundell.com. You can download your free natal chart with a stunning free interpretation. Enjoy my wonderful 3 free card tarot, or sign up for your free daily horoscope fired to your device each day.